Hey guys, this is Bound here, and I've rebuilt half my team for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, what you're looking at is my team currently. So Hatterene, Orthworm, and Rotom-Mow are new additions. So I'm going to talk about those in detail. So the first one I have is Hatterene. It's holding Cobra Cloak, Terra Water, and this is supposed to set up against as many Pokemon as possible. And my moveset I'm running is Calm Mind, Psyshock, Draining Kiss, and Mystical Fire. And this is a max physical defense bold natured Hatterene. And the reason why main reason why I wanted to use Hatterene was Magic Bounce, because Magic Bounce can bounce back hazards, it can bounce back status moves like Spore and Yawn, so it's really good support. But it can also like do a lot of damage after it gets Calm Minds off, and Draining Kiss is really good for keeping it alive. Like for example, if you lead off against a Breloom, they can't Spore you, and then if they Bullet Seed, they'll just do a little like half, and then Draining Kiss will just completely get rid of all that damage it just did. So that's funny. So that's just an example of how good Hatterene can be. And Psyshock is really good against like Pokemon that are Calm Minding against you, or just like Clodsire, Iron Moths, and Fluttermane, stuff like that. Does a lot of damage against those Pokemon. And then yeah, so and also like I said, Calm Minding Pokemon that are Calm Minding against you, you can just Psyshock them, hit them on their physical side, and they're gonna take a lot of damage. So yeah, only unfortunate thing about Magic Bounce is that Trick doesn't work. Like Trick can't bounce back, and I think there's another move that I'm forgetting, but yeah, Trick you can still get tricked, so you have to be careful about like clicking setup like always against like certain leads. So yeah, Magic Bounce does help a lot though. And Terra Water is really good because Hatterene it just allows Hatterene to survive a lot more hits, and water typing is really good for a bulky Pokemon, especially the one that wants to set up, because it only has 2 weaknesses, and most grass and electric moves are special, so Calm Mind can kind of cover that. So I'm still, yeah, like I said, I'm still testing this out. It's been working pretty well, and the Cobra Cloak has been working pretty good against like Garg. It's mainly Garg and Espathra, because Solcure, Lumina Crash can be problematic for other Pokemon on my team. So having an actual switch in and then being able to set up Calm Minds against those are pretty cool. So yeah, and then also yeah, so Mystical Fire is still up for change. It's pretty good against like King Gambit, Goldango, and stuff like that. But yeah, haven't used that move too much, but the other 3 moves are just really solid. But yeah, and then the speed can be a little bit of a problem though, because I have 29 base speed with Hatterene, which means I'll get outsped by pretty much everything except for like Clodsire and stuff. So other tanks like Dondozo and Garg can outspeed me. So I'm kind of thinking about speed creeping that a little bit. I'm not too sure yet, because being like slower than Garg is kind of problematic, I feel like. But I haven't really ran into any matchups where that actually mattered where I got a loss instead of a win or something like that. So yeah, and then also I want to use this team going into series 3, so Ting-Lu is going to be a pretty big problem. So, and Hatterene is actually going to help a lot against that, because Whirlwind, like what Ting-Lu probably wants to do is like Stealth Rock Whirlwind, and Hatterene's Magic Bounce kind of prevents that. So being able to set up against Ting-Lu is pretty nice. However, Fissure, Ting-Lu does get Fissure, so I'm thinking about going Terra Flying if that actually becomes a big threat, because none of my other Pokemon can reliably set up against Ting-Lu, because Ting-Lu can just Whirlwind, and yeah, it just takes hits like a champ. Like Ting-Lu, I've covered it on my Series 3 regulation overview video, so if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description. But yeah, Ting-Lu is a pretty crazy Pokemon. So yeah, I'm kind of still trying to adapt this team to see how it can work with all those Ruin legendaries in the game, so that's going to be fun. But anyway, next Pokemon I want to talk about is Orthworm. Now, Orthworm is a pretty interesting Pokemon because of its ability Earth Eater, so it's a very unique steel type that is immune to ground and heals off of ground as well. So Earthquake, Fissure won't work against Orthworm, same with Earth Power, stuff like that. And it can just set up Iron Defense against a lot of physical attackers because of that, because they get Earthquake, but Earthquake won't work. So their normal coverage against Steel is ineffective against Orthworm. So Orthworm is actually a pretty unique Pokemon because of that. Now Stealth Rock is really cool option because I've never used Stealth Rock in any 3v3 team I've made for 3 or 4 years now. Gosh, it's been such a long time, but Stealth Rock actually helps a lot because Orthworm can switch in against something like a Baxcalibur or Garchomp or something like that and just set up Stealth Rock for free, and you don't really find that opportunity that much in 3v3 because normally used like Stealth Rock is your opponent can just set up for free. So but Orthworm is unique because it has a set amount of meta Pokemon it can switch into, like Dragonite, Baxcalibur, and Garchomp, and it sets up Stealth Rock. And when Baxcalibur or Dragonite comes back in, it's going to take a huge chunk of their health, and that matters a lot because their bulk is pretty good because they're pseudo legendaries. So any bit of chip damage with the Stealth Rock actually helps a lot with damage calculations and just being able to reliably KO them. So yeah, and then Iron Defense Body Press is a really cool combination because you can out set up Dragon Dance and things like that. Like Dragonite matchup gets really weird now because a lot of Dragonites are running like Dragon Dance, Roost, Earthquake, and Extreme Speed with like a Rocky Helmet. So that matchup is interesting because Rocky Helmet actually messes up Orthworm's ability to reliably deal with it because of just the Rocky Helmet damage, and Orthworm can't heal, so it's going to eventually get chipped down because Dragonite can just spam Roost over and over. But with the Terra Ghost, I can basically wall out that set completely because the only attacks Dragonite would have is Earthquake and Extreme Speed. So Earthquake is immune to by Earth Eater, and then Extreme Speed will be immune by Terra Ghost. So that actually could help Orthworm win that matchup because it devolves into a PP stall war, which, you know, I've actually done that like several times already because Dragonite is so common and that set is so common with it. So if you figure out that this Dragonite is Rocky Helmet, you can't use any attacks against it, so you're forced to use your Stealth Rock and Iron Defense over and over, and it kind of devolves into like a timer war, which kind of sucks. But on the flip side, if Dragonite Terra normals or something like that, Body Press will just one-shot it through multi-scale if you get max Iron Defenses off. So yeah, Dragonite matchup looking to be pretty positive because Dragonite has been a big problem with my other squad. So I'm glad I'm able to deal with it reliably now. So yeah, next Pokemon I'm going to talk about is my Rotombo that I've recently built. And yeah, it just took me a while to get these Pokemon because the Terra Shards are like really annoying to get. It takes like an hour and a half to get 50 Terra Shards for each of these Pokemon. So I apologize if it took forever, but yeah, that's just how it is. Sometimes with Scarlet and Violet, it takes a while to get that Terra type that you really want, and it's actually, you know, getting the Terra type is pretty useful for a competitive team. So yeah. Anyways, Rotombo is running Volt Switch, Leaf Storm, Terra Blast Fairy, and Trick. Now, Trick is something I've never used in any of my Pokemon teams before. I've been playing competitive for several years now. I don't even know. Too much to count. But Trick is really good because you could trick a tank, a Choice Scarf, which I'm running, or just like a choice item in general, and it basically removes their ability to play the game. And also tricking lead set of Pokemon is really good too. So that adds a unique dimension to my team, and it allows my team to deal with a multitude of team compositions. And I don't think I mentioned this, but with Orthworm, I'm running Rocky Helmet. So that's also a really cool thing, because Rocky Helmet is a really good item. It's a really underrated item that people just don't use because, first of all, it punishes physical attackers for recklessly spamming stuff. And what we learned with Pokemon Sword and Shield is that physical attackers are way more there's way too much physical power. Now Scarlet and Violet kind of made that a little balance because Flutter Mane, Iron Moth, and stuff like that, so there's a lot of special power as well. But being able to punish physical attackers for trying to play the game is pretty cool. And also helps with the Orthworm can play passively while the opponent hits you because they'll just recoil themselves and get rid of their health, or just get rid of their own focus sash or something. So yeah, Rocky Helmet's really good. But anyway, back to the Rotom mode discussion. I'm running Terra Fairy because it does really good with Terra Blast, and it hits dragons pretty hard, hits dark types pretty hard, like Hydreigon. Roaring Moon will get one shot by Terra Blast. Roaring Moon can be problematic, like without, these two help a lot against Roaring Moon. So I'm glad that I have those to have a reliable answer to that. And Grass is very just underrated as an offensive type in this game because people just think Grass sucks, so they won't use it. But with Dondozo, Rotom Wash, and Garg in the meta, having this like very strong Leaf Storm is very good to have. Like, it's just so good. Like, Leaf Storm is very strong. Rotom has a stab Leaf Storm, and it can just do a lot of damage to Dondozo. And Rotom can even switch into something like a Dondozo because Fissure won't work, and then Dondozo's moves are just resisted unless it has Avalanche, but that's not gonna do that much either way because it's just not a strong move. So yeah, Volt Switch for that pivot potential, because with the Choice Scarf you can lead it off against a lot of stuff. If you don't like the matchup, you can Volt Switch out. If it's a lead setup, you can trick it and just adapt to whatever your opponent does. So yeah, Rotom's just really good support for the rest of my team. So yeah, that kind of covers the rebuild with these 3 Pokemon. So I hope you all enjoyed that. And yeah, I will see you all next time. Peace.